Greetings, family and friends. For those who may not know me, my name is Josh Culler, and I have the privilege of calling Ruby Joe Walling my grandmother. Personally, I believe if we fail to recognize and celebrate the powerful ways that God works through people, then we'll begin to overlook those gifts. Grandma Joe was truly a gift. I want to recognize how extraordinary she was, how fully she gave her life to God, and how deeply she changed this community. As many of you know, Grandma Joe and Pop, Mr. Morty, built Playhouse Nursery right here in St. Matthews in the late 60s and early 70s. And I think that that's something we often look at way too casually. Life back then was a lot different than it is now. Typically the husband or the male was working farming or in textiles, and the woman was the caregiver, a lot more children, dinner every night on the table, church every Sunday. But Grandma Joe really opened the door for child care to allow more of those people to get out into the workforce and to grow communities. She didn't follow a playbook, instead she wrote one. They built that daycare with blood, sweat, and tears, welded school buses and cubbies and all that stuff. At a time when dependable childcare was not easy to find, she stepped in to a real need. She gave parents consistency and dependability. She opened doors for so many stay-at-home mothers by becoming one for the whole town. Even more than that, she gave kids opportunities. She enrolled them in swimming lessons, sports camps, and nearly every vacation Bible school in the county. She gave them rides, fed them, and picked them up. When I look back at her life, I keep coming back to three principles she lived out every single day. One, she found her calling through God. Two, she helped raise children with godly intent. And three, she lived the servanthood of Jesus. Grandma Joe didn't just stumble into a daycare. She answered a calling. The Bible tells us that our calling lives at the intersection of three things. One being what burdens our heart, or what we care the most about. Two being the gifts that God has given us, and three being where there was a real need. Grandma Joe understood something that a lot of people miss. You don't accidentally raise good, grounded, godly children. You do it with purpose and intent. She built a structure, routine, and standards. She created a place where children were not only safe, but guided, where expectations were clear, where right and wrong were not confusing, but also where love and discipline lived in the same house. And that matters so incredibly much because she wasn't just shaping behavior for a moment, she was creating identities for a lifetime. When I think of Grandma Joe, I do not think of one memory or one season. I think of a person who was woven into every fabric of my life. My mom, Annette, was a school teacher and often had to be at school early. So for as long as I can remember, mornings started all the same way. Taylor and I would be half asleep in the car, headed to daycare, around 5:30 or 6 in the morning. Pop, Mr. Morty, would have already had things going after his paper route, cooking breakfast, and we would walk into the smell of bacon and eggs. But the day never officially began until Grandma Joe came barreling down the steps to catch Joe Penner on the WIS News. And every morning like clockwork, I hear, "Joshy boy, come sit in my lap and watch the news with me." And I would do that as soon as Mom would leave for school and fall right back asleep in her arms. Even over the summer with no schools, Taylor and I begged to stay at daycare with Grandma. We often would spend the night with them midweek at least twice a month. Grandma Joe was ingrained in our childhood and adolescent years every single day. As I got older, I began to realize that Grandma Joe and I were polar opposites on the personality scale. She was full of unfiltered honesty, social boldness, and very direct. I, on the other hand, am a bit more reserved, timid, and way more reactive than proactive. Some people enter a room carefully. Grandma Joe entered the room entirely. That personality made her a catalyst, unforgettable, polarizing, and deeply impactful. Her character traits played well into her legacy. Grandma Joe was all of that. I would occasionally have friends come by from college, and she would just get right in their face, look at them, and say, "Well, who are you?" That was her. No hesitation, no warm-up, just straight to the point. And yet somehow the same breath, she can make you laugh, make you feel loved, and make you feel like you had better straighten up. That was a unique talent all of its own. But one of my favorite things about Grandma Jo is that 90% of the time she was so blunt, you never had to guess what she was thinking. But the other 10% of the time, you literally had no idea what her intent was behind the words she was saying. She was very unmatched when it came to the deep South idioms and phrases that are forever etched in my brain. She would greet you with, "Hey darling, come let me look at you." And 5 seconds later call you an old polecat. And to be honest, I had no clue what a polecat was until I was in my 20s. But that's the part we love, because in Grandma Jo's world, you could be a darling and a polecat in the same breath. At Sunday lunch, you might hear a yell from the kitchen, "You old hound dog." And nobody at the table knew whether there was an actual dog in the kitchen, whether Taylor was sneaking Vienna sausages out of a cabinet, or whether Nav had just walked in the front door to join us for lunch. It was always a surprise to see where that one would end up. Merciful days, you'd hear that from the other room at daycare and have no clue what you were walking into. It could mean something like Callie had just taken her first steps or lost her first tooth, or it could mean 2 kids just dumped a bucket full of dirt, worms, and bugs across the floor and she was coming to get involved with a fly swatter. You really had to assess that situation before deciding to go investigate. And of course, the most versatile phrase of all, blessed. Blessed could mean about 4 or 5 different things. For example, you could overhear her on the phone saying something like, "Yeah, Joshy boy was playing football and broke his leg. He's having surgery tomorrow, bless it." Meaning what you would think it would mean. May God bless your surgery. I love you, and let's hope for the best outcome. Or, "Joshy boy, you made an 80 on that test, and you knew everything when we studied it, bless it." That one kind of felt like you didn't perform to your expectations. You tried, and you missed. And then there was the Josh Culler. Granted, the full name was probably a giveaway. "I heard you got a speeding ticket in town yesterday." About 5 seconds later, "Bless your heart." That one was total disappointment. "Someone please come help this child," and I am in complete disapproval. And sometimes she would just look at Callie and say something like, "Well, I do declare, bless it." And nobody had any idea what that meant. But that was Grandma Jo. She was hilarious without trying to be. She was sharp, unforgettable, and completely herself. But underneath all that personality was something even greater, her faith and love for her family and community. I can tell you personally, Grandma Jo has helped me become the man I am today. The way she poured into people, the way she gave to this community, and the way she invested in children, I know that shaped me. It's one of the main reasons I've spent so many years coaching baseball year-round at all age levels, trying to pour as much good as I can into the youth myself. Love, faith, generosity, and a touch of mischief all rolled into one person. Maybe that's why this hurts so much, because people like Grandma Jo don't just occupy space, they fill it. They change the temperature of a room, they change the rhythm of a family, and they shape a community. And when they're gone, you feel it. But today's not about loss, it's about recognition, it's about gratitude, it's about giving honor where honor is due. The Bible speaks of a day when we will be judged with what all we did with our lives. And when it comes to Ruby Jo Walling's life, there are few people who did more with what God gave them. I think of all the lives she shaped, the opportunities she gave kids, and the lives she pointed in the right direction. Over the years, over 400 kids all coming through and carrying on that legacy. If there's one thing we should take from her life, it's this. You may not be able to change the whole world, but you can change someone's world. Grandma Jo did every day. That's a life worth honoring and a legacy worth following.